I always think about these things, especially when it comes to identity-driven learning for our babies and what it means to have curriculum that is in front of our babies that allows them to feel honored, a sense of empowerment, to
Yep.
honor their background. And that's what New York really allowed me to explore more of, was that teaching wasn't just the place I was meant to be, but it was the space of this like culturally responsive learning, because I too was learning about myself in the process.
Interesting.
Yeah.
New York has a way of doing that.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, that's what hip hop was for me. And I found that in New York. I think New York has just kind of this, it's like everyone's on top of each other, but it doesn't feel oppressive in the same way it does in other spaces. It feels more immersive. And then you kind of have to have your identity because there's everybody around you with theirs.
Yeah.
So you're like, let me get mine. Since y'all are out here, there's a Dominican Day Parade, there's a Puerto Rican Day Parade, there's an African American History Day Parade. Like, you know, and you're like, it empowers you in that way, where I feel like in a lot of these other places, like in the South, like the story is sameness. You know, it's like there's such an effort being put to just everybody be the same.
So when I was teaching in New York, and then I ended up moving to Seattle, and ended up helping to co-found the first elementary charter in the state of Washington. And this was in a primarily refugee community in Tukwila. So it was primarily Ethiopian, Eritrean, Somalian, large Burmese population. And this was a point where it was like, I was thinking about all of the experiences that my parents had, not being invited to family events, not being communicated to because there was the idea that they didn't speak English, so they wouldn't understand anyways. You know, all of these different little pieces where all of a sudden I was thinking, okay, I have this opportunity to help create a school with the community so that I can right the wrongs of the past of my own family experiences. So then, just to that point of sameness, when I moved to Seattle, it was, how can we ensure that community voice is at the forefront of the educational experience? And that's what it sort of all comes to this place of Rowie's Readery, but it was an opportunity to do what we call project-based learning. So math, science, writing, English, reading, all of it is revolving around the locality of our community. So instead of just learning about farm to table, for example, as a project unit, we're learning about bread around the world. And we're talking about what types of bread does each child eat in their own home, and how do we apply that to every type of subject. We did a project-based learning unit that I wrote called Poets of Color. So the children were learning specifically about poets from their community and seeing how that was a form of activism. Or they were learning about the Black Panther Party and how it was formed in Seattle, the second group, and learning about the 50th anniversary of the Black Panther Party. So they're learning and engaging with content that is relevant to them. And that was one more step for me to understand like how impactful identity-driven learning can be for our babies.